Gauteng police are investigating after Transport Minister Sindisiwe Chikunga and her bodyguards were robbed on the N3 highway near Heidelberg. It's claimed the minister and her entourage stopped to change a tire on Monday. That's when the gunmen pounced on them. The robbers made off with personal belongings and 2 service pistols.
Members involved are receiving necessary support and counselling. A manhunt has since been launched following this unprecedented incident and to bring to book those responsible for this attack. The minister has in the meantime been provided with alternative resources.
We're joined by security expert and investigator Mike Bolhuis on the line. Mike, good evening to you. Thanks for your time. You've had the opportunity to really, I suppose, read about what the circumstances around this particular attack were. Not every day that you hear about a minister traveling with bodyguards, not only coming under threat, but having her bodyguards robbed of their service pistols. What do you make of what has happened here?
Well, I must say I'm a bit disappointed because, everybody knows about the spiking in the roads. It's in the news. It's constantly warned about. And for 2 policemen, bodyguards, to be, we're glad they're safe, but to be caught off guard like that it's not on. In my opinion, ministers and high-profile people should be protected by the best of the best. And the moment anything goes wrong with a vehicle, it must be expected, especially in South Africa on our roads, especially after dark, in dark or early mornings, that there's a possibility that something is sinister on its way. So, in my opinion, it could have been prevented, and it should have been prevented. And this once again calls for much better safety and security protocol for high-profile government officials, as well as proper equipment in the vehicle, proper video and audio equipment that can pick up as much possible evidence, not only in the vehicle, around the vehicle. It's time that it's been in discussions, but it's time that it's now implemented, that all vehicles are properly equipped with video and audio equipment in and outside. And then, as I've said, the protocol is bodyguards, anything, they must be absolutely and totally aware of anything, their surroundings, if anything goes wrong with the vehicle, and they should have not just pulled over, they should have actually found the most secure spot and then cleared the area and made sure that everybody is safe, the perimeter, etc., etc. And then one of them should be on the watch the whole time while the other would then change the tire or the brother assisting him. That's what should have happened.
You know, Mike, you're raising such an important issue. The reports around the spiking on the N3 in particular have been well documented. In fact, I think there are always updates on just what the criminals are doing, right? The latest, at least I've seen, is, where they put the spikes and they have leaves on top of the spikes so you don't actually see it. At night it will be difficult to see anyway, but it makes it even more invisible. It's not just advice for individuals that are high profile. I think all of us have lessons that we can learn here, especially if we're using roads that we know are being heavily targeted by criminals.
Yeah. On one hand, it's maybe a blessing in disguise, and the minister is now the issue we are speaking of, and everybody knows of it, and the information is reaching far and wide. But spikes, I want to warn everybody in this country, spikes is a real reality, and it is anywhere and everywhere, and it's usually at nights. And as you can clearly see, they don't care if you're a minister or a police officer or who you are. If the vehicle comes to a standstill, the possibility that the worst of crimes, you could be shot, you could be killed, you could be raped. Your vehicle could, even in the condition that it is, be completely looted or taken. You could be tied up, kept in a bush and everything, and totally all and every item of value could be taken and stolen. And that's a real reality, and there should be a positive paranoia constantly amongst all our drivers, that you must be very, very, and those who travel all together must be very aware that the moment something goes wrong with a vehicle, the possibility of something that can happen to you next to the road is a real reality.
Let's talk about the fact that you believe this could have been avoided, and that it seems that her security personnel were ill-equipped, really, to respond to the situation. And I don't want to be, drawing here, perhaps making suggestions about why this particular incident happened, because we know that crime generally takes place on that stretch of road. But of course, it does raise an issue around what we see, particularly where politicians are concerned, where more and more we have not only ministers, but in some instances, those that are serving in some kind of leadership positions at a provincial level, at a local government level, that are having to have security guards that are provided by the state to look after them. Do we ever get audits of the work that is being done by these individuals? And I think the issue that you're raising around the capabilities of these individuals is an important one, because ultimately it's the taxpayer money that ends up paying for their services.
Look, let's be honest. I've said it before many a times. Unfortunately, there's so much corruption in our authorities. It's hair-raising. It's probably 80%. And it does not mean you're selling a docket. It means when you cannot protect and serve. So my question is, does these bodyguards, can they run a full 100 meters? Can they shoot? Can they protect? Are they fit? Are they able? Are they willing? Or were they asleep? It's just a job. I'm just driving along. It's a cushy job. I'm having the time of my life. It's got to do with attitude. Once you deal with VIP protection, those guys, you see them a mile away, and you can see they're really up to it, and they're aware. And I can tell you now, unfortunately, I have to say this. If there were real bodyguards there, this wouldn't have happened. As I've said, the vehicle wouldn't have just pulled over, and it wouldn't have been assumed that it's just a flat tire. Immediately, the VIP bodyguards, special trained bodyguards, would know something is wrong, and even in the state of that vehicle, would drive away quite a distance, and find a secure spot. Whilst doing that, making sure there's proper communications, informing, having people on standby and on high alert. There's also no panic buttons in the vehicle that informs units or other institutions that could be of assistance. There's no proper communication that was done whatsoever. So they were totally taken off guard. And in my opinion, they weren't prepared. In my opinion as well, the fact that they're getting counseling, just that in itself, and that they were taken off the job is saying it all, that they aren't cut out for this work. When you're a bodyguard, you're extremely trained. This wouldn't really actually happen. And when something does happen, you can cope with it and carry on.
All right. Security expert and investigator Mike Bolhuis will leave it there for tonight.